This is a run that I did on Friday night, and really happy with how it went. And there's going to be a good run to showcase, and is going to replace the previous run for the RPG Limit Break submission. So I don't think I'm gonna get an as good run, and I'm going to actually stream my next run. So yeah. Anyway, let's go. So Wargroove PC game is basically Advance Wars by an indie company, but with fantastic units. So we've got mages, pikemen, infantries, knights, and stuff. It's pretty fun. And this category is New Game Plus, which means that we have all the chapters unlocked for the story, so we're still going to play through all of them. The reason why it's New Game Plus and not New Game, because you would just need to delete the file for it, the Steam file for it, is because the last map requires 100 stars to unlock, and you can't get those 100 stars with just the story. So you would have to do extra stuff, and I haven't taken the time to route it yet. So for now, this is just New Game Plus. If you were to do New Game, you would route 5, you'd do 5 more maps and the 25 puzzles that the game will allow you to do. But last, New Game Plus means that we have everything unlocked onto the core map. And the first few maps are basically just tutorials on how the game works. So, when a unit attack, you can see that this has a range of -5 or +5%. It's going to be very important later on. For now, it doesn't matter too much. The third thing that the game introduced to you is crit. So every unit has a crit, and it's basically an action that you have to do in your that is going to make the unit fight much stronger. And most often it's going to allow them to one-shot the unit when they would normally not be able to. So for example, a Pac-Man is going to do like 80% to a Swordman, but with a crit, it goes at 110%. So you just get a kill. And for Pac-Man's crit, it's just standing next to another Pac-Man, which is really easy to do. Oh, and nice measuring there. Archers that are just here is doing an attack when not moving for the turn. So you have to not move for a turn for the archer to actually have their crit available. The archer attacks from 1 to 3 range. So like it's pretty... They cost a little too much and they are kind of slow. So that's going to be the bane of the biggest problem in this run, is that compared to Advance Wars, where units move at around like 4 tiles in average, 4 or 5 tiles actually. Actually, it's more. Yeah, it's more 5 tiles. In this game, it's 3 tiles, which is really low. So it means that it's going to limit me a lot if I want to go for fast strat as to what unit I can choose and what I can't. Because like obviously I want to finish the maps as fast as possible, so that means having fast units so that I can clear objectives fast. So the objective on this map is to take the destroy both buildings of the enemy. So buildings are kind of different compared to Advance Wars, in that you need to destroy them before being able to take them. In Advance War, you would just take 2 turns to take them with an infantry at full HP. Here it takes 1 turn to actually take the building, but you have to destroy the previous one. I wasn't supposed to move this Spikeman here, and you're supposed to move it down, but mouse control is kind of finicky, so I had to improvise and go for this range. Otherwise it would have just meant that I wouldn't have 10 extra units, but like, yeah, it's fine. It's still going to work out because those missions are fairly easy still. And I have the infantry ready to help me out. Alright, so mission 3, introducing commanders and HQ. So in order to win most maps in this game, you need to use to either kill the commander of the enemy or destroy their HQ. So commanders are really bulky units. They can't have crits, but they kind of win against everything on the ground. They're like really bulky, they deal quite a lot of damage. So they're really big threats and really hard to kill. So most of the time, the HQ are also like strong buildings to destroy, but they can be destroyed more easily. And they won't try to run away too. So also introducing knights, they have 6 move, which is the highest move you can have for fighting units on the ground. And their crit is like fighting an enemy from after doing this. That is at the distance of 6. Which means that it's kind of hard to set up crits, and they're going to be quite frail after doing a crit because they're going to be in the front lines. And they're weak to pikemen, which are really good defensive options. And right there, that's a pretty neat 3 turn or 4. I don't know. You can take an extra turn if you hit the range, but that's okay. The Mercia is still going to be alive by the end. This mission is kind of neat because you need to save every citizen to put them in the top right corner. And to do that, we're going to build wagons. So wagons have 13 move on roads. Their movement is half on anything that's not road, and they can't go through forest, but it's still massive. Like, that movement is massive. It's massive. Again, I messed up the movement of the knight, but it shouldn't be a problem either. And my 2 pikemen are just going to deal with whatever reinforcements the enemy is going to have from the top left, and Mercia is going to deal with the help of my knights with whatever is at the bottom. So it's a very straightforward map.
My queen.
As long as you have the wagons to take care of it. The bottom wagon is really right there so that I can bring Mercia back to the top, because I'll have to do that at the end of the map. So I just built it in trenches, really just because I could. So this game got released on PC, Switch, and Xbox, I'm pretty sure. Fun fact, the Switch AI is actually different from the PC AI, for whatever reason. Hey Tria, thanks.
I'll save you.
Well, it's already a run that I did before, so no need for luck for this one. I don't know why I didn't try to kill that knight here. It's kind of weird. It's a very straightforward map. Had to move that wagon a little bit because I messed up the positioning of Mercia. Again, the controls for this game on PC is basically mouse control, which is really hard to do correctly all the time. Because, like, and also you can hit confirms on menus with enter bar, with space bar, no, with enter. Which means that you can have actually some quite fast menus, even if you are basically locked for every movement to the mouse. You can still do some pretty neat menuing. You can also move the camera with ZQSD in French. Like, you get what I mean. And switch unit with spacebar, which again is also pretty useful. So like, you've got a bunch of shortcuts with the keyboard. They are pretty useful. They're going to be pretty useful throughout the run. I'm not too good at everything yet.
Very well.
It's pretty finicky to get everything down, but it's really just because I only have a week of practice of the actual run.
My queen.
I did route everything else, which took me like, I don't know, 70 hours or something. Like, a lot of time. I spent a lot of time routing this, trying to find a consistent strat. So this is the first map of Chapter 2. We're being introduced to Fog of War. So Fog of War, you have a limited vision on the map. depending on the unit you have more or less vision, and you are not able to see through the forest unless you are next to it. Unless you are using dogs, which are the units that are introduced with this map. Dogs have very good vision of the map, and they can go. They can see through the forest tiles, which is really convenient. Not too useful here because, like, this is a speedrun and I know where is what. But still, like, this is pretty cool. They're pretty fragile as in terms of fighting units, but they do have 5 moves, which is pretty high. So they're pretty useful. That they're just really frail and don't do that much damage. Compared to like knights or archer, like pretty much everything. Huh? Still very useful in this. So in this map, the objective is to take down the barracks that's at the very top that you don't see because I'm not moving the camera. And crossing this bridge is actually going to make the whole army at the top start to move. It was basically passive up until now. And the good thing is, with a crit of a knight, you can actually one-shot buildings. So we're going to set that up, and everything else is just there to bait out every other unit, so that my knight can actually reach that barrack without trouble. There is a chance that it fails. As you can see, it's 97% to 112% chance to hit, which is a real shame. But at the same time, I do have a backup if that happens. It's pretty cool. This map introduced trebuchet, which are really strong range units. They are basically able to take down anything, any ground unit. The problem is they can't move if they want to fire, so you have to be really careful with your placement of trebuchet. So I'm going to play, and also like at their max range, they are going to have their crit. So they're basically going to one-shot everything that's not a golem, and even then golems are going to be left with 1 or 2 HP, which is really not threatening anymore, and I can just kill them with my commander. And the objective here is, like any other objective, take down the HQ or take down the commander. And I'm going to do that with a knight and a trebuchet. The problem with this map is that, as I mentioned, there is ranges. And depending on the ranges you hit, the AI is going to behave differently. Especially on a commander. Every time a commander is gonna get hit or weaken a unit, it's going to make the RNG... Like, the strat is basically going to be inconsistent. So here I'm just... The strat that I do have here, though, is pretty consistent, as there is some really easy backups you can go for. If you ever have to. So I still improvise the end, but it works out really well most of the time.
Cherry stones, defend us!
Taking out this dog allowed the AI not to be able to see that I'm placing a crystal here with Emmerich, so the knight is going to bonk on it and lose his turn, because otherwise it would kill Emmerich. So introducing Groove as well. It's been introduced for a while, but I haven't had to use them until now. So Grooves are basically just powers in Advanced Wars. You have them every time you fight with a commander. You build the Gouge, and once it's at 100%, you can use it. Emmer's Groove allow him to make a shield around the crystal he creates that gives 3 extra defense to a tile, which is very strong. Especially with a unit that's going to be introduced later. But for now, it mainly just helps us prevent dying from that knight that tried to attack the other way. Taking down the barrack allowed me to safely stroll and send everything to the HQ. I do need a dog to allow me to see, to have a vision in the HQ, which is why I still have this 1 HP dog that's staying alive, very strong. Yeah, run away. Or don't move. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not moving. Okay. I don't know how much HP I had with Emerald, but it was really low. Again, if your commander dies, you lose. Which makes using commanders, which still are like very, very strong, kind of scary. Alright, so chapter 3.1. This is a new strat compared to what I did before, because I realized that there is a range on Mirsha's HP that's going to make Ragna behave differently. So I changed the strat so that I'm always at above the threshold. That can be a problem. And it makes the strat consistent. Yay me! So yeah, we've got aerial units, so ground units can't attack them. Except for mages and ballistas, which basically just one-shot them. Especially mages. Mages have 5 moves, they are really strong against flying units that basically just obliterate anyone on their way. And they are also pretty strong attack power. Sadly, like this range on the night, I can't do anything about it. It's really rare that they get this range, and if it does, then it just kills everything. So we're starting this map. Going back to what I was explaining. Mages have some really good damage output, but they take a lot of damage just like dogs. So they're really good glass cannons, if I say so myself.
Whatever!
They have the ability to heal for 300 gold as well, which makes them really useful, especially for later on maps where you don't have the ability to recruit anyone or to heal yourself. As long as you have money, that is. And their crit is when they have, they are on tiles that have 3 or more defense. Which is really strong, because they are really well protected and they do a lot of damage. So they're like really scary. I forgot to move the belly set, nice. That's thankfully not going to matter, because dog dies here, but if it didn't, then I would have been in trouble. That's the range. So Mirsha's Groove is allow her to heal
I'm here to help.
for 5 HP every unit that's
Healing aura!
in range, which is busted, because her Groove also goes up really fast, and that, since it hits her as well, it makes her really strong. Really resistant to pretty much anything that can come her way. Alright, so losing a little bit of time because of the range on the night, unfortunately. So 3-2. It's a very interesting map because you only have these 5 units, 2 infantries, 2 mages, and the commander. And the idea is that you have to hit all those flags that are going to pop on the map with the commander and only him. So basically what that means is you have to rush with your commanders while making sure his path is safe with every other units. As enemies reinforcement are going to pop every time you hit a flag. It's a very long map, but it's very fun to do because it basically makes you learn how to keep your units safe and heal them appropriately, and like really well micromanage. Okay, so there is a little bit of a weapon triangle kind of thing in this game where like mages are really strong against pikemen, and pikemens are really strong against infantry, and infantry is really strong against archers, which are really strong against mages, etc, etc. There is a lot of combinations, just like Advance Wars again. So when you, it's true in routing, but it's really something they showcase in the puzzle mode, where you kind of have to learn what's strong against what, and where do I need crits and where do I don't. It's a really interesting mode because of that, so you can learn some really sexy stuff, like mages actually are dead to one-shot to mermaid, for example. And that's not a situation you will encounter a lot in the campaign. Actually, there's no reason to ever encounter that situation. But it's something that you have to learn for the in order to clear puzzle mode. Which, if you don't know what puzzle mode is, puzzle modes are maps where you can finish the map in one turn and you have to figure out how. And they can be very intricate to figure out. Some of them took me like, I don't know how many hours, but some of them took me hours. It's just one turn, but still goes to show how many cool stuff you can do.
Defend us!
So here, the only thing that prevents me from having a absolutely consistent fight is that range on the Swordman. It's 100%, but without taking into account the ranges, which makes it 50-50 whether or not you kill it. It saves a turn to kill it, but at the same time, that's when you know what you're doing, and like, you really can't remember how you're supposed to finish that map. So yeah, spoiler, it's going to be sketchy. Here's him. Also, I don't need some infantry guys anymore. I really just need my mages to keep Emmerich alive, so that's why I cannot give up on moving them because it's slow. I could have saved them, sure, but I don't need to. Just need to keep the commander alive and make him move fast. Alright, so this part is where I need to practice a lot. The problem is, this map, it takes 4 minutes to get there, and yeah, it's really hard to practice this part, really. So I tried for something that I saw in one of my recordings, but it's actually not the right idea here because RP is not positioned correctly. So I should have. I don't even know what I should have done. Probably just attacks the pikemen. Yeah, I guess that's what you're supposed to do in that situation. Oh well. Tried something, it didn't work out. Definitely wasn't the right thing to do here, but yeah, still did it. Alright, so now the pass is cleared for Emmerich to reach the flag. He won't die, so good. Still lost time because I couldn't figure out what to do. Alright, so 3-3 is a very long map where you have to bring Mersha all the way to the right side of the map. It's really long because you only have 4 moves. You don't have a wagon in her team. But you can climb in nurse wagons. Which is, if you didn't realize, making this map way more interesting than what it actually was and what it actually looks like. Because that means that you just have to get to the barrack first with Nuru, make a wagon, and then rush all the way to Mercia so she doesn't have much more movement to do. And that means that if you're trying to lower turn count this map, it gets way more interesting and way harder than what it actually is, because you have a lot less time to do everything you need to do. And you just have enough resources to do it, actually.
Oh.
So it makes routing this map really interesting. So you need to basically take care of the two pikemen that popped at the top. Knight and dog are not necessary anymore. The mages are just there to clear the way so that Mercia can go past the two infantries and the mage. And Nuri is going to go down with her wagon in order to clear the bottom center of the map and make sure the wagon can be safe. Also, if you're wondering if a wagon dies with the commanders, then the commanders die, the unit inside it dies too. Not just... So like, if it's a commander, you die. Oops. So you gotta be really careful with that wagon. So I'm pretty sure that it's like a range whether or not Mercia survive if you don't do anything else than move her. So I'm going to heal her on the next turn with Mage. Basically just because of that trip that just hit her. Trip just do a lot of damage to commanders. I'm just taking out this archer so that it doesn't move during enemy phase.
A little help here?
I could have moved the wagon further towards the road, but it's actually, it doesn't need as much movement as Mercia right now, so I'm just putting it out of range of the treb. So you don't want to see a wagon take a treb hit. Yes. So now Mercia is going to be able to climb his wagons next turn, and we're going to rush to the right side of the map. And the last thing to dodge, or to deal with, is that wave that just spawned next to Nuru, so we're just going to take care of it nice and clean. So the ranking system in this game is actually kinda neat. Because like, in Advanced Wars, in order to get S rank, you would need to have multiple things going on. In this game, you just have to finish the map in a short amount of turns. So that means you can be as bad as needed as long as you go fast. You don't have to care about your unit surviving or how much damage you dealt in a turn, or funky stuff like that, which is really cool. Alright, so chapter 3 done with this map. We're going to chapter 4, about halfway through the game already. And this map, the only way to clear it is to destroy the HQ, because there is no commander. And there is, as you can see, there is 3 roads that you can take. So the idea is that like you're supposed to take it slow and break through all the rows. It's pretty painful and long, but the AI is made in a way that it's going to focus on the commander basically no matter what. Sending her at the top here makes it so that the enemy is going to mostly go for her at the top and leave the bottom side empty. I sadly need to hit that range on the infantry. The infantry needs to stay alive. Actually, I wonder, maybe I don't need to... I think I tested that before, but maybe I don't need to attack with the infantry, just need to put her there. That would be interesting if so, because that's really the only thing that's preventing me from having consistent strat on this map. I don't know what the chances is for this to happen, but it's certainly not low enough for me to not care about it. So in this game there is also a quick save option that allow you to have one save per chapter. So most of the time I'll either use it if I'm unsure if I can win or not, like just to be able to rewind just like you're supposed to, or if like I get the strat that's requiring RNG, I don't want, if I mess up I don't want to have to really go through that process again. So there's multiple patterns from here depending on the range of Nurian's infantry dude. But most of the time it's just trying to figure out a way that Nuru is going to be able to survive. And I also try to kill people as much as possible because that allows enemy turn to go faster. I'm not exactly sure if it's faster, but like I tested it on one map and it was actually faster, so I just went with the rule of thumb that it was always faster to kill the units rather than leave them alive. Not sure if that's true though, but it's a thing at that time. I was more interested in trying to find the right strat than trying to find the fastest strat. I just wanted something consistent. I was routing this, which is really hard to find in this game because again the chance thing is really rough, so it's very hard to find consistent strat most of the time. It's possible, it's very much possible, and I'm pretty sure that all maps are, well, to some extent you can always find consistent strat, except for a few exceptions, which is like chapter 2-2. If you want to go fast, you have to have an unreliable strat. 7-2, the two last map also have that. So this strat, I realized is pretty bad, and that the strat that I'm using is just very inconsistent. Or like, it's inconsistent. I don't know how much, but I've seen it fail way too many times to enjoy it. And really don't... I'm not exactly sure what it is that changes it. But like, the idea is that I need to kill the commander / general as fast as possible, and in order to do that I need to bait him a little bit, and if the bait doesn't work then I basically can't do it, because he's going to build a bomber next turn, like in this game it's called a Ryu for seeing, yeah. And if it doesn't, if I can't base a general, I have to retry. And I thought it was consistent, but as I realized, well, running this, it isn't. So that's something that I'm trying to look into, is like just making it more consistent. I don't know how I can do this, but it's the objective. I could just try and test out not killing Mersha on the next turn, but that sounds finicky.
No.
I thought at this point of the map, I thought that if it's Ryuji, right? I'm not sure if it's his name anymore. I thought that if he moved on the palm trees forest thing, so that means the strat doesn't work, but it's actually more complicated than that, turns out. So I lost a lot of time because of it, but so did I in my PB, so whatever. Yeah, like, it's a thing with this game that when you try to go a little too hard with your commander, well, the enemy is going to do the same. The thing is, like, you're in control in that position because you're moving first. Like, again, the AI really likes to target to focus the commander as much as possible, even if it shouldn't. Because they might die in the process, or like the commander is actually safe if they attack. And just like that, that's my trap.
Yeah.
As long as I get the commander to move correctly, then I'm good with this map. Alright, so this is a messy one. For some reason it's inconsistent that I have no idea why, because it's really shouldn't, because it's not before range and damage range, so like sometimes it's just not gonna work and I don't know why. I really don't know what's making it making the RNG shift like that. So we're finally getting our golems that we first saw in 2-2. Golems have 5 moves, they're really strong powers, they're really good defense. Really strong overall. And once they're under 40% HP, they go back to max power. Albeit their defense is actually weaker because, you know, they'll lose much more attack power at this point. But still really strong, and since I have 2 basically right at the start of the map, this map is really not difficult to clear because you can just defeat whatever they try to build 4 or 5 turns with just 2 golems and feel indestructible. So I was supposed to kill them right here before sending him because otherwise there is a chance he dies, but I basically got lucky. Because, yeah, the AI is kind of dumb and is going for Emmerich even though he's cheating. With the commander, that is. It's consistent as long as the 5 turn, as the first attack of the enemy is correct. But for some reason it isn't always, as I explained. So, end of chapter 4, we're on 5-1. So we have 2 commanders. We have Emmerich who's alone and needs to go all the way down and get the Ember Wings, while Koji is on the left with a Barak and the help of other units, and is here to defend the position, basically. at some point Sedge is going to come from the top, and that's a win condition. We have to kill him. So really, the left side is here to defend and also clear out the way so that the Ember Wings don't have any trouble dealing with Sedge, because they're going to be my main kill power here. Everything else is here for defense. So, since Ember Wings are flying units, I need to take care in priority of the mages that are going to pop. The archers, because they can attack flying units. And you would think harpies too, but they actually have a really high priority on the commander for some reason. So I can leave the harpy be and have no problem whatsoever. So building 2 traps and 1 ballista to take care of the upcoming RPs, because I still need to take care of them somewhat. It's just, they're not the most important target to deal with. The strat again is kind of inconsistent in that like there is branches everywhere and the enemy is not always going to behave the same way. But it's fine because you have Ember Wings and you can just basically do whatever you want from there. It's not a really bad map. It's bad if you need to go for the loader account, but if you need to finish it, like I'm trying to into speedrun, it's not too bad. Alright, so because Emmerich has a pretty good chance to die here, actually he's going to die on the next turn since he's alone fighting 2 golems, which is really bad. I'm just going to make a balloon so that I can climb in it and be safe, because hey, golems can't detect balloon. Oh, and yeah, there is a witch that's coming from the top. Also have to deal with that, because witches basically deal 80 to 90% damage to Ember Wings, I'm pretty sure. So scary stuff.
Interesting.
That's 1 HP, so they're not destroyed anymore, but...
Let's hope this works! Ha! Ha-ha!
So Koji's Groove, Lahem Tuvav's flying bombs. They're pretty useful, and I just send them. You don't always get them on this map, but when you do, it's pretty neat if you try to get a kill on Sedge. Sadly, it's out of reach of everything but 1 Ember Wing right now. And like, since Ember Wing's damage is if the enemy is on a road, and that's the case, well, that's basically a free win here. Just putting my commander to safety. Because again, if Koji or Emmerich dies, then it's over, you lose. So, 5-2 is the only map where I don't have an actual strat and I just kind of wing it. I tried to find a good strat consistently for like a good 15 hours and just... I thought I had something 10 hours in, but it turns out it was fake and it was depending on the range, and if you missed that range then it was all over. So yeah, I gave up on it. I'm pretty sure that it's a range at the start too, and you can have multiple later on. So yeah. We're just going to improvise. So the objective of this map is to destroy the 4 barracks and the 1 airport, or whatever that thing is called, of the enemy. Which means that the enemy can create 5 units every turn. And depending on what you destroy and like where they are, it can be a very big pain or not. Which is why, and that basically is what makes routing this like impossible. Because like when you don't care about what the enemy is going to produce, you can just try its stuff, and most of the time just going for the best move is going to be very obvious. It's not true here because depending on what you kill, there's going to be some different spawn. So it's really not obvious what you have to do. But for example, one thing that's for certain is that killing this RP is really bad because then the AI wants to create another one, and where it's going to create it is right at the center of the map where I have my Ember Wings. So like, yeah, I don't want this to happen, like, ever. Because my Ember Wings are really the main source of damage to take care of every buildings I have to take care of. So like, the plan that I'm going for most of the time is have the Ember Wing take down everything at the bottom, and then everyone else is going to take care of the top right barrack, which would work out really well if the strat was consistent, but sadly it isn't. Thankfully, this map gets, once you've dealt with that front line route around here, it's going to be much more easy to like handle everything, because I'm about to destroy the airport. And once that's done, I know he won't be able to get any other flying units, so that's one less worry to have. And I'm going to take care of the middle barrack right after too. So like, there's pretty much, I'm never going to be in trouble ever again, basically. Whatever is left is really easy to take care of with the Ember Wings I have and the troops that are still alive.
I'll save you all.
Also, like, having a commander with a group compared to an army without a commander and commanded by an AI is basically GG. Maybe should have saved here. Or I can just do that. Okay. Sadly, every time you attack a building, they retaliate. So if you don't one-shot a building, then you are always going to take damage, as long as you are at one range, which is most units. And that hurts. That hurts quite a lot. Like, yeah, at this point, we've dealt with
None shall fall.
everything in the middle. So what's left
Aura!
is one version's right. This barrack is not going to last very long. So what's left is the bottom side, and Sadness and Despair. They just made a mage, which is really annoying. Because that means my Ember Wings are not going to be able to deal with the bottom, and also this Ember Wing right here isn't able to destroy this barrack right here. I shouldn't have done with this. Okay. Still works out. So my Ember Wings are now, like, because I wasn't able to get the kills on the two bottom barracks, they're just going to keep that bottom part in control while the ground units are just going to make their way through the map. It shouldn't be too hard to do.
I'm here to help. Healing aura.
Trying to calculate a crit. Why is this New Game Plus? I explained that at the start of the video, but I can explain it again. New game, in order to finish with the epilogue, requires you to have 100 stars. And the main story just gives you 60, so I would have to route extra stuff if I wanted to
Yeah.
to make it to the epilogue, and I haven't had the time to do it. I already just wanted to showcase the whole campaign first. Because basically what you would need to do in order to do new game is clear all 25 puzzles and do 5 more maps. Provided you finish all maps with 3 stars. Which you really should. Even if 5-2 is a problem, you really should be able to clear it before the time limit. Alright, so this map is the first naval battle, and you've got mermen, which are able to take control of cities. It's basically infantries, but on water. So they have 1-2 range, which is really good, and their crit is once they are in the water. So basically, you're always going to have them crit. They're pretty good units, especially for the cheap price they have. The only thing is that they get one shot by turtles, which are really strong water units. Oh, and also mermen are the only units that can destroy buildings. Oh well, there is also the cannon units things. And in order to finish this map, you need to destroy all of the enemy's forts. Which includes the one at the bottom left, if it takes it. So that's why I sent a merman and a turtle. It's just to misdirect these 2 mermen. I have these 2 mermen just take down the support in 7 turns. Really easy map. And absolutely consistent as well. So this is a big, big showdown. We've got 3 armies, the enemy only have 1, and we're going to try and take down the Empire of Elam and get to the capital. So you're supposed to use all 3 armies, but turns out you only really need to use Gojis, because he has an airport and the ability to make reuse, which are bombers. And like the only way to finish this map is by destroying the HQ. And this is the one things that are blocking the way to the HQ for the reuse. And are just like, hey, you are not supposed to destroy us like that, you're not going to be able to do it. Well, the ballistas are just going to get destroyed because they have some... they're not at 100% coverage on everything, thankfully. So I just make 3 reuse and send them straight into the HQ. It has now it has a chance to fail because reuse deals 32% damage at very minimum. So it has a chance to deal only 99, but the chances are so low that like it's never going to happen. You would have to hit a 0.01% chance. Which is really low. And like, yeah, you need to take it down in 1 turn, because else whatever is at the middle of protecting the HQ is going to start to move at that point. And there is like 2 mages and 1 ballista. So if you can't take it down in 3 attacks, then it's over. It's actually 3 attacks and not 1 turn, because depending on the luck you can have, the ballista at the top of the HQ is going to move either on the left of the HQ or on the right. If it moves on the right, then I can't reach with all 3 on the 1 turn, so I have to waste 1 turn destroying it. At the same time, since I destroyed it, then I'm not going to take too much damage in retaliation and still be able to destroy the HQ. But still, it's going to make you lose a turn, and you can see how many units are moving at this point. So I have to destroy this. And now next turn is GG. All just golems and trebs at the same time are really scary. Alright, so that was Felheim. Now we are on to the capital of Felheim, and trying to take down Baldur, the quote-unquote bad guy. He's not really the bad guy here. And to do that, we have Mercia and Caesar, her dog, who is also a commander, because, yeah, it's a really strong dog. With a pre-deployed map, and we basically have to strike down Wouter. So that means that, as I explained earlier, Mercia's Groove allows her to heal for 5 HP every unit that are in range of a groove. which is really busted for maps like this. Because that's basically allowing me to take trades where I wouldn't be able to. Because like at some point, I would be lacking HP too. So the first objective here, once we've broken through the enemy's wave, blocking the door, is actually destroying the door. Takes a little bit, and while we're going to do that, we're going to heal with Mersha. And once the door is destroyed, we're going to
I'll save you all.
take on the attack and then
Healing
counter
aura!
and destroy everything that's going to be in the way.
Greetings.
Now, really, you have some strong units, and the enemy have some bad ones. Like
By my hand, rise.
we have 3 archers, 1 knight, and 2 commanders to handle like basically what's infantry is mostly. The only problem is going to be the golem right there. I basically just have my commander to deal with them. So that's what I'm going to do. Send Mersha straight into them. And Caesar's groove is inspired. It allows him to make up to 4 units move again. Which is pretty strong, but at the same time it's really situational. So it's really hard to set up. But I still managed to set it up here. And basically clears the way for
Rise from
my
your
army to break
grave.
through. Now there's 2 more pikemen and 2 archers to deal with, but it's not a threat anymore at this point. My commanders are at full HP. I have archers, and this knight conveniently plays to give me a crit. Now, I did say that the enemy is going to target commanders as much as possible. That's true to an extent. If the infantry sees a mage in range, they're going to go
By
for
my
him first.
hand, rise.
So that's why I'm putting my mages. My commanders, again, Mersha being able to heal her 5 HP every time she has a groove makes her really, really strong. So I can take hits with her really easily.
I'll save you all. Healing aura.
The gimmick of this map, despite even though like it's pretty
By
flawed
my
map, since there is
hand,
already
rise.
quite the gimmick here, is that you could sit for the 7 turns. Valdor's groove is always ready, and this groove is to spawn an infantry unit that's able to move right away after it's spawned. It might look pretty bad compared to stuff like healing aura of Mersha, but it's really, really useful. It's a really, really good groove because it charges really, really fast. It charges every kill that Valder does, and even if it does nothing, it goes
By
in
my
5 turns.
hand, rise.
So like, it's very, very strong to always be able to create a unit every turn that's able to move too, even if that's as weak as an infantry. So I'm just trying to have a setup here where I have Inspire ready on the moment I trigger everything into the throne room. Because I'm 1 tile behind the trigger for it. I kind of mess up my positioning here. I shouldn't have put that archer there. I should have put my mage, but that's fine. I'm only going to be able to make 3 units move. The very end of this map is just improv. Because there is way too many variables at this point. Those areas are general plan. It's not always easy to follow like an exact path where I know where I'm gonna be like, hey, this unit moves there, this unit moves there, this unit moves here.
Rise from your grave.
Kind of have to improvise a little bit. Hence the hesitations and the sloppiness. So the big problem on this map, on whatever is left here, is the 2 mages that just conveniently did not attack anything. And now I'm basically free to do whatever I want.
I'm here to help! Healing aura!
If I didn't move Mercia here, my knight would have died. Because archers are pretty strong against knights. Oh, they just would have went for the mages instead. Well. Now easy GG. Alright, so it's not over yet. Because turns out Valder wasn't really a bad guy. The bad guy was Nuru, who was plotting against Valder in order to unleash the power of Requiem. So we're going to fight her in one last standoff battle. And just like other maps where you have commanders that are moving at the start of the map, they're pretty easy to bait out with the Uncork strat. So I'm just bringing an army up for her. There's a 25% chance this strat fails. Or like, maybe something under that. And it's going to depend on this attack of the RP. So if it destroys the buildings, then it's a 50-50. Because I need to destroy and to defeat the infantry right there. Alright, so I did it. So now it's just a matter of finishing the strat. Because depending on what happens with the RP, the strat is slightly different. The other strat is completely 100% safe. This one isn't. Yay for cannons. Alright, so I did say we were playing Advance Wars just now, right?
Enter oblivion!
This map's gimmick is that we were playing Fire Emblem now.
What?
So we've got this seven commanders. They all have their grooves. And if one of them dies, it's over. I lose the map. And also that's basically it. That's all the units you're gonna have. Besides whatever Valder is going to be able to spawn with his groove. And what Nura is going to be able to spawn with her groove. And what Koji is going to be able to spawn with her groove. Actually, you have a little bit more than that, but really, that's the core of your army is the 7 commanders.
Enter
And the quirk,
oblivion!
because that's not over,
Yeah.
is that Epilogue is going to be able to control one commander every 2 turns. Now, which commander she's going to control is actually fixed, so you can plan on it a little bit. And every turn before it, she's going to warn you about who is going to be controlled.
Rise from your grave.
Even casually, it's already a very difficult map. What makes it even harder in a speedrun settings is that, as I explained before, ranges. The rule of thumb with ranges in this game is that if a commander attacks or is attacked, then the RNG is going to have a chance to shift. And we are on a map where every commander is able to attack. I guess you are seeing what I'm saying here. It's
By
pain.
my hand,
This map is
rise.
And Valor is supposed to not be that weak at this point. So at this point I was actually improvising on something where I would have usually reset when I was routing this which is kind of a shame. Because when you are improvising something, you are not really sure what you're doing and you're doing mistakes. And right there is a mistake that I did. I didn't move Valder before using Healing Aura, so he wasn't in range of it. Which really hurts, because then he is at 2 HP, so that means that if he takes 2 HP of damage, it dies.
Cherry stones, defend us!
And also, like, this golem is not supposed to be here. It's supposed to go for Koji, but for some reason it didn't. Like, there's a lot of things that went wrong because of that. Or, like, not really wrong, but unexpected. No, shouldn't have moved through here. Now he's going to be targeted by
Your
the mage.
heart is weak!
Got mega baited by a lot of things. Saying all that because I know that I'm not going to win this. Spoiler alert. It's mostly just because of that range that I got on Baldur, because I didn't practice it enough. Again, I'm still only 1 week and a half into actively running the RTA category, where I can't reset any bad outcome that I see for a routing purpose. So every wave of enemy, as you can see, not everything is moving at this point. They only start moving after certain units get through triggers. And I kind of want to be careful when I'm hitting these triggers, so that I can avoid fighting too many enemies at once.
Break you!
Or like make sure that the enemies are positioned correctly, or like time the moment I'm able to fight them so that I can use crews, etc, etc. There's a lot of things that were really interesting to route on this map. And it was really long. It was definitely by far the longest map I had to route for this. I think I'm fairly certain it took me something like 50 hours to route this map. It's a 20 average 20 turns map.
I'm gonna break you!
Yes, the problem here is that I quick saved right basically after moving Valder, so I was stuck I had to restart the chapter, and that's 6 minutes gone. Feels really bad because I knew I could save 8 minutes on my best. So that's once again 7-2 killing me. That's just saving 8 minutes if I get if I don't reset the map. I have to reset again. If the dog dies here, which is a low chance,
I claim your heart.
It's gotta be something like 5%.
What?
Actually, I could check, but I'm not going to right now. I'll check later, actually, because that's actually kind of interesting. There is a Wargroove calculator out there that would allow me to know ranges and stuff.
I
So,
claim your heart.
the idea behind this right here, I just sorry I can explain it a little bit since I had to reset and I was able to explain the quirk, is that since every unit in my army are going to be controlled at some point or another during this map, I can use that to my advantage. Even though like I'm going to take damage later on, I may as well just make use of it.
Rise
So
from
I
your grave.
basically just put Golgi in range of that retribution, knowing that it wouldn't be on my on the enemy side, so that it wouldn't take damage from the trap. That way I can actually damage the trap on the following turn, because I know he wants to go for Valder from that forest and possibly kill it. Killing it is range, which
I'll save you all.
already shows that you'll have to improvise a little bit. And then depending on the ranges you got on your commanders, the AI is going to behave differently for wave 2, which is this wave. So already on wave 2, stuff are different. Like,
A little help here?
not sure when I'm going to realize it, but I'm going to realize it that I think it's here. I moved Emmerich when I should have moved Ragnar. The idea here is that I want Ragnar's Groove to be ready for as fast as possible, because she's going to be the next one targeted after Nur. And I want to use her groove so that I can weaken a lot the wave 3, which is kind of scary.
Weak.
Really, it's scary because Ragnar is going to be controlled and use her shield, her groove, which deals a really big amount of damage to everyone. And even if I have some way to have sustainable to sustain her damage, the damage that she's going to deal with Mirsha's healing aura, it's still a very scary move. So I don't want to have to deal with the wave at the same time. Hopefully, you're done with Elodie taking control of your commander before Ragnar is controlled again. Like, hopefully on a good run, every character is going to be controlled up to Emmerich, and then you're going to start the last phase in which Elodie stops using her thing.
None shall fall while I still stand. Healing aura.
The order in which units are targeted are
Calling reinforcements.
Koji, Nuru, Ragnar, Valder, no, Caesar, Valder, Emmerich, and then it restarts. As you could hear, Mirsha is not going to be controlled, thankfully, because otherwise it would be even harder than what it currently is.
I can't.
Also, mages are pretty cool because considering how much money LD has, they are going to be really happy about spamming their heals. And they can heal your commanders too, so that's like not so bad. More than anything.
By my hand, rise!
So the trigger for the phase 3 is right below the tree where Amrak is. It's kinda difficult to trigger that, but you're often always able to do it. So I quick save. I remember the way I quick save here now. It's to avoid the situation where someone dies
I'm gonna break you!
to Ragnar's shield jump. Which is not going to happen considering how everyone is pretty healthy at this point, this time around. But you never know.
Requiem.
Especially with Valor.
I claim your
Two that have
heart.
chances to die to Ragnar's shield jump are
You're finished!
Valder and, weirdly enough, to set up Mercia, because she sometimes is the one who is going to tank Noor's attack, but it wasn't the case here because weird shenanigans happened with the setup that I'm used to. So
I'm here
she's
to
very
help.
healthy right now.
Healing aura!
So the groove to focus are obviously Mercia, as you can see. Like, she's critical. If you want to win, you have to use her groove. It's like guaranteed. Then Valder. Valder is really important because he's going to allow you to have more units, whether it's mid shield or units that are going to be able to take down a unit that was weakened by a commander, or just block the way for certain counter units. Is going to allow you to
Rise from your
have
grave.
much more options. Then another one that's really important to focus is Koji's groove, because para bombs are going to be really important at the end of the map. The thing is, this para bombs groove takes quite a bit of time to charge, so you kind of have to focus doing attacks with Koji. And then Nero is going to be able to spam Pikemans, which, as I explained at the start of the map, Pikemans are really strong when they are used defensively. And mostly what you're doing here is being defensive while trying to move forward as well. Actually, it's really at the end of the map where you're going to need as much defensive options as possible. And also, like, ways to deal with knights, because there's going to be a lot at the end. So before, I'm right below the trigger for the next wave with everyone, because I want to have access to the trap when I start the next wave. So what I want to do is actually be able to weaken it. Now, I don't have the range with just my commanders,
Rise.
but I do have it with infantries from Valder's Groove. So I was just trying to build it. And that way that's blocking the way to both the mage and the archer, and the golem has to go all the way around. Like, it's so important to actually
A little help here?
be able to block the trap. Now you could use the bomb, a spare bomb, but it would be destroyed by the archer, so you can't actually use them, which is a shame.
Your heart is weak!
Yes.
Thanks for the heal. This wave is definitely the hardest to tackle, especially if you don't prepare properly for it. If you prepare properly for it, then it's not as big of a deal. Because then, if you prepare properly, then what's left to deal with is a golem, and as you can see, that's basically what's left alive. That scary as a golem is, it's not scary anymore when it's alone versus 7 commanders. So because I had to wait a little bit with Valder to build Valder's Groove, I'm kind of behind on what I want to be at this point. So like the moment my units are being controlled is a little faster to my liking.
I'm here to help.
I don't know why. Oh yeah, I know why I did that, because I don't care about Amric's being killed. Oh wait, I killed him. Okay, never mind. My me in the video is actually smarter than my current me.
I claim your heart.
Interesting.
By my hand, rise!
Alright, so there is one more wave left before the final wave, which has a loot in it. This is a really easy one. There is nothing that's actually scary in it. You have like 3 pikemans, 3 or 4 pikemans, 2 mages, yeah, 3 pikemans, 1 mage, 1 archer, nothing scary at all. Like the only things that are really scary are knights, golems, and traps. Oh yeah, I just wanted to test if Koji could get his groove before being controlled, but nope. So again, since I know that Koji is going to be controlled on the next turn, I can just send him there, knowing that this is going to be fine. He's just going to attack me on the next turn, which is fine, really.
Calling reinforcements.
It's too bad though, because that means I won't be able to have my 4 spare bombs in time.
Your heart is
Because the
weak.
thing that Elodie does as well, every time she uses her groove, is that it depletes my groove gauge. So it's really not cool for people that have really slow groove like
Rise
Like
from your
Koji.
grave!
or Sita. Now you can see the power of Pikemans. It's blazing through because their crit is so good. I still definitely want my 4 Sparrow Bombs before the end of the map. So we're still going to try and feed kills to Koji. And like the main idea here too is that you want to keep your groove available for the final part of the map. Yeah, I think I'm going to use. Wait, yeah, I figured maybe if I move here, it's going to trigger the
This is mine.
last wave. So this last wave is really weird because it's going to get triggered differently depending on if it's a commander or a normal unit that's going to get in. Thankfully I was able to trigger it now before near it is controlled, which is all I wanted. Now you need to make sure that the trap isn't in range of anything when you start triggering this wave, because otherwise he won't move. But if he's not in range of anything, then he's going to move in the front line, which is a really dumb move, but that's what the AI does, so I won't complain. To chill jump right there, because that's really
I'm
perfect.
gonna break you!
This should protect us. Ah!
I'll save you all. Healing aura!
I decided against going all out with my commanders. Could have been way too scary. Still putting Mercier here because that's relatively safe, since there's really just the 2 golems that can hit me. Now considering I already went this far in the middle, I should be able to clear on the next turn. Which I did realize. I don't know why I did this, but just wanted to make sure that she would die.
We did it.
And that's a 23 minutes 7-2 with a 6-minute time loss.
My
So
queen!
very, very good selected. So the epilogue. Very last map. In order to get S rank on this map, you need to finish it in under 40 turns. Yeah, 40 turns. Up until now, the longest maps we've done is like 26 or something. Like, around 20 at worst. This map is 40 turns. And yeah, there's a lot to do. We only have Mercia as a commander. We're back to normal pre-deployed. And we have some giant armies to take down. So again, the objective is to take down Elodie, Dark Mercia here. So we are going to send Mercia forward again as much as possible to bait Dark Mercia to fight us. It's going to work out pretty well, at least for the first phase, and this is the second phase is going to be a complete mess. You'll see why fast enough. So fun fact, we have a golem, the enemy doesn't have one. And it only has 1 trap and it's up there. So once we take it down, there is basically no chance for the golem to die. Except you play like a very big dumbass. Well, there is one golem at the very end of the map, but at this point, there is a very easy strat you can go for to keep it safe. So like, the golem is going to be really strong. The archers also are going to be really strong because I need as much power as possible and as much safety as possible, and archers, just like Parkmans, are really good in defense. Or in Stale Wars. And we're going to have to fight Stale War. Oh yeah, that happens. So I've never seen this Spikeman die to Mersha, as the odds gotta be really low for it to happen. So I had to improvise there from there. It turned out pretty well overall. Could have been way worse. I tried to follow the same plan as before, and thankfully, if Mersha doesn't decide to be really mean, it's going to work out fine. Also about this map, every time you kill an enemy, you get 50 gold, which are for the sole purpose of using the mage's heal. So you have a lot of heal available to you. You can't actually kill her right now, so you just weaken her enough so it triggers the next phase. Which led to this dumb thing,
None shall fall while I still stand! Healing aura!
So, I'm basically just going to bloat everything on this door, while my 2 knights and my golem and my mage are going to try and get through the top and come back down and deal with whatever resistance there is. So yeah, as you can see, there's a lot of units that are going to go there. So yay! Fun. And that's why archers are really important at the start, because we're just going to blockade her on this door as much as possible, as much as we can. I don't know why I placed my troops there. So obviously, because there is going to be so much things in this little space, it's going to be really hard to predict anything. So I'm basically just going to try stuff, and we're gonna see if it works out or not. The overall idea, though, is to have Mersha be an easy target so that I can then use my archer to deal with whatever is trying to take it down. The problem is it's kind of risky, but it's much faster than just waiting it out. So the one targets that we want to deal with as fast as possible are the mages, because once again Mersha has a lot of money, so she's going to be really spammy with the heals of the mages, and when there is so many units in such a small space, healing is actually going to be really strong. So I don't know this yet, but this is going to kill my knight, but I couldn't resist dealing with that mage. That's why I saved before. If I saved there, but I really shouldn't have, because Mercia faces a chance to die if ranges are bad. Yeah, 9%. This could happen really bad. Spamming checkpoint here is just it's a pain. This map is a pain. Or rather, this part is a pain. Mercia's gonna die again. Sadly. You are weak. I'll need to test how it's like to do this map without taking a risk like that with Mercia. I need to experiment with more strats with Mercia really, because I kind of start. I'm not too happy with the way this map is routed yet. So we'll see. It might change before RPG Limit Break, because this feels like a really weak routing.
I'll save you all. Healing aura.
There is I definitely haven't worked on this enough to be to feel happy about how this map looks like. It was just so hard to work on this map after working on 7.2 for so long. I just wanted to get it done. We'll see about improving the strat pattern later. Merci Easy. Mais c'est un recording donc c'est déjà comment ça va se passer. The way this map looks like right now is really weird, because like everything went in a weird was weird at the end of the map here. Or well, even right after Dark Mercy dies for the first time, it was just a mess. So I'm pretty sure I'm losing time to my PB on this attempt. trying to set up kills. And while I'm chasing the last studios that I have to route, I'm trying to set up the next phase, which is the throne room. In order to handle the throne, I kind of want to go for a strat that I want to test out with the previous phase. Just this is that for the walls. But like, yeah, you can't destroy the doors, you have to actually route everything. I want to... the idea of the strat is I have Mersha at the bottom, while Knights and Golem are at the top, because that way I bait everything at the middle. At the bottom, and then so that like I have a free way to
None shall fall while I still
attack them from the side.
Healing aura.
It works out pretty well. So I wonder if I could do the same thing for transition from phase 1 to phase 2. At this point I really just lost one backman, which really isn't too bad considering the mess that happens in the middle. So now I don't have to route anything, so I'll just try to defeat Dark Mersha as fast as possible, and well, I kind of need to destroy everything that's in the way too. So everything in the throne room. But what's coming from the side room, I don't really care about. So I'll just bait it out with the wagon. Scary moment for my knights, but it's okay. They're strong. Still alive. You have a crit set up. Then sit. Okay.
I'm here to help. Healing aura.
As a final hit was the dog. So now all I want to do is bring Mersha, the 2 knights, as many archers as I can, and the golem to the throne room. I like mages too, while fighting as little enemies as possible. And in order to do that, the best way is to just have the golem lead the way. The golem is really strong. Now sadly, most of my units are really slow, so it's going to take a while before they get there. Like at this point the map is won. I have enough new units to deal with everything and just handle whatever the game is going to try to throw at me. So sadly this duck is gonna die, but it's fine. These archers probably won't make a difference. It's still worth trying and bringing them, because this last section is kinda scary. So even sacrificing my archers, I think at this point I realized that they would never be useful ever. Well, maybe I can save one. Okay, never mind. Oh, actually, yes, I can save one, probably. So I have to wait for Mersha to get there before triggering the last room. Well, I don't really have to, but it's gonna help. Because I have a strat that basically involves Mersha and that have Mersha and the golem as the core of it. So the idea is that I'm just going to place Mersha at the entrance. That way the golem is going to go for her, and then I can send the golem is going to do whatever he wants to whatever is there. The only thing is that makes Mersha in a little bit of trouble, but it's not too bad. Okay. Yay, go Archer! Saving. Maybe I should have saved, I don't know. It's probably a bad idea, but I'm still going to do it anyway. Just healing Aura. I don't know, why do you not healing Aura here? If you did that, it would have been fine, dummy.
You.
Or just not loot, okay. Fair. Why am I doing this? Like that.
None shall fall while I still stand. Healing
Yeah,
aura.
especially if it's to use my power right after that, too. And GG. 157.29. Still lots of mistakes and kind of slow here and there because I haven't practiced stuff. But it's probably going to be as good as it's going to get in terms of presentation for RPG Break. I'm obviously still going to practice it and get better. But we're like, yeah, this is going to be as good as it's going to be for my RPG Limit Break presentation. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the run.